Hello, fellow gamers. I'm Gloryhound, and this is
DrGloryhogg.
And today we're doing I'd Back That Kickstarter.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
It seems like you're just
I always
clicking on
get like
whatever.
a little bit like, okay, first off, I started up the wrong stream today, so apologies, everybody.
That's cool. I'm sure she'll fix it afterwards.
It's been one of those weeks. It's been a long 2 weeks. We've done a lot of content in these last 2 weeks with Essen and everything.
I have a wood stake in case things get crazy.
Especially for that one game. Was it Dire Alliance Horror?
Or even just Darkest Dungeon. I'm pretty sure there'll be a vampire in there.
There's a lot of dark things happening. Well, it's the holiday. You gotta get the dark.
Everything this week is dark, and because you got Endless Winter, Darkest Dungeon, and then, but except for asking for Trobils. That's just like kind of casually getting rid of a bunch of nuisance aliens.
Aliens are in the dark though. Like they're in the dark of space, right?
You don't know. You've never been there. It's a conspiracy. We've never left the Earth. The Earth is a pancake. No, I don't believe the Earth is a pancake.
Hello to our chat today. We have Just Joe Blogs, Alan in chat, Omar, Jim Garner. We had Battle Cry in chat. Thank you so much for showing up today.
Chris is here.
Christian Strain is here. Super excited for everybody to be here today. Let's see, I've been watching a lot of Addams Family on different variations this week on Halloween. You two totally remind me of Morticia and Gomez Addams.
I like to think I'm more like Thing, just a hand.
You would be.
Just like,
Why do you gotta be like this? I could be Morticia, just
I
like
think
with different
in
hair.
In this relationship, I would be Morticia and you would be Gomez.
I could do that. Let me see.
Go.
Let's see here. What is it? You take the arm.
Gotta
Like,
me.
gotta me.
This works.
I think that's how you do it, right?
This works.
Yeah, definitely started the Red Outpost stream first. Yeah, we're all...
Poor Red Outpost. It's just getting tossed around.
Man, we're going to have to fix that. Apologies. And because of that, our thing is all wacky. Hold on here. Let me readjust. Adjusting.
Your screen?
Adjust. Yeah, because I had to open it up because I had to fix the things. This is what happens live, everyone. It's totally fine. Totally fine. Yes, I'm hoping to play Red Outpost next week. And hello, Kabuki Kid.
We had to shuffle around because of like Spiel and like we had two other games we had to kind of fit in, and then there was like Shadow Network is ending soon, so we got to fit that in. We had to shuffle around. Poor Red Outpost is getting shuffled.
I'm really sad about it too because I wanted to play Red Outpost and it was like the least important thing to do at the time. I was like, oh no, I really want to play that.
Battle Cry says, do not adjust your TV screen.
That's right. I'll do it for you. Are you ready? Are you ready, Doctor? Are you ready?
I don't know. Are we ready? What's happening?
I don't know.
Let's just
start. Let's just start this rodeo. First up, we have Darkest Dungeon. This is by Mythic Games. It's for 1 to 4 players. It's going to last about 90 to 120 minutes. This is based off of a video game franchise, which is a...
RPG?
I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's...
A dark RPG?
No.
Maybe the darkest.
You could stop for a second. It's turn-based. There we go. It's turn-based RPG. There we go.
You know what has
I'm like, because I love turn-based RPGs. I don't want to hear about Coloma. I don't want to hear about Coloma.
Woo! Let's go. Come on.
I don't want to hear about the Coloma, okay?
I had a Coloma once, but they checked it out and it was benign.
So in this here, you're traveling through a dungeon. You're trying to defeat monsters and get through to like a final boss, basically. It's very much, I don't know. Dr. Gloryhogg, what are your thoughts on this game before I get into what I think? Go ahead.
It's so dark. It's so dark. So it's interesting. I like the different, like they have different battle stances, which affects like how you go in initiative. The way you kind of explore the rooms. When you open up the rooms, you go based off where your battle stance is, where you go into the room. It's got a bunch of different monsters. I still don't have 100% think I've like figured out exactly how the game plays perfectly.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, because like I've watched some playthroughs, right? And I watched some of the videos on how to play it and everything. I just don't have any connection with the IP at this point in time. The only connection I have is it did make me buy it for $7 on PlayStation.
It didn't?
No, it did.
It did, yeah.
This looked interesting enough that PlayStation had it on sale for like $7, and so I bought it.
That's smart. Our chat did the same thing. Kabuki went ahead and did it, and Alan did. Let's see here. Nosferatu said, I liked the video game for a week, and then I was over it, but it was an amazing game. The art on this looks spot on.
Oh, the art is amazing in this one. It does 100% feel like a dungeon delving game, though, right? So I have to admit, I'm getting, now that it's like basically November, I'm getting a little fatigued on dungeon delving.
On dungeon delving, it's November and you're like, wait a second.
I'm just like, another dungeon which I love dungeon delvers, but man, there's a lot.
So let's see here. On here, I like the fact that you're going through the rooms.
I like all the miniatures.
Right, I like the room board, okay, and that you're flipping over rooms and you don't know necessarily what sort of room is going to come up, and then you actually put the room tile down. I think that's really fun because you don't have to have this sprawling map across your table.
Right.
Like in most dungeon delve sort of things, and you don't know exactly what's going to come up next. Instead, you have this tiny little board where you shuffle tokens around, and then you flip them over, and then you see what's going to happen. And during those in-between times, you are also trying to use like provisions to prepare you for the next room. So that has like such a video game-esque feel to it, especially in a turn-based RPG where you're like, all right, what battle are we coming up against? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and, put these characters in these slots, and then I'm going to, power them up with these things and stuff.
That makes sense. And there's a lot of interesting plays that you can do where you're like, okay, do I want to spend like my lantern or like my torch in order to do this? Or do I want to spend food or potions? Like, it does feel like an RPG, even though it is a board game, right?
Andrew says, too many things I have to decide between 3D printer upgrades or Kickstarter games. Those are tough choices.
That is tough. That is 100% tough. There's one game we're talking about this week that's been on my radar for like 2 months plus or more. Actually, probably more.
What?
I've been talking about it for probably over 2 years now, actually.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. I was like, what are you talking about
now? So there's one that's been on my radar for forever, basically, because 2 years in the board game industry is basically forever. Like,
it's forever.
People live and die in 2 years. There's whole channels that start up, get a good subscriber base, and then just stop within 2 years.
Very, very true.
There's a lot of them.
So the miniatures in this do look fantastic. I think we did the hype train on it, not knowing anything about this, and we went through and like that was one of the super awesome highlights here. Was the miniatures. I remember you really liked this bard up here.
Oh yeah, the bard
was
like
super awesome.
I would buy just the bard because the bard's getting into trouble.
But all these tentacles on this person here, like this looks so fantastic. The miniatures look fantastic. The art in this game looks fantastic. I think that delving through this particular dungeon is a lot of fun. I think the biggest thing that you all have to decide is, do you want another big box game? Because this is a big box game. It's going to have quite a bit of rules involved with it.
So this one's really well funded, right? And there's a couple of interesting things because it's Mythic, right? And so I've been online looking at a lot of different things, and some people have been really complaining about Mythic. And here's kind of how I feel about Mythic. Because they're comparing Mythic to Come On, right?
Okay.
And I could see the similarities there. You could say, well, Awakened Realms kind of follows that model too, where they produce enough of the same type of mini-heavy games over and over and over again, right? Obviously different themes. I think the best way to enjoy a Mythic campaign is to back the campaign and then just magically have it show up in a couple months, right? Because the people that like delve super deep into the details and like Kickstarter updates seem to be angry. But when I actually get the game, I just enjoy the Mythic game. So I really have enjoyed. So I don't have any Mythic games that I've wanted to sell. There's been a few Come On games that I've moved along.
Oh, definitely,
right?
yeah.
So I have to say that about Mythic. So I think like Super Fantasy Brawl, people had some complaints about that one, but when I got it, the game was just fun. Like I really enjoy the game, and I don't regret backing that at all.
So here's the thing.
I'm super interested in it. I don't think there was enough uniqueness to it for it to like push another game out. Does that make sense?
I agree. So the Mythic game portion, going back to Mythic games, I can see what you're saying, how they're trying to have this like cool mini or not, or Come On game sort of feel to it, where they're producing all these big box games and everything. I think that they've just made, like they're making great games. They've made, though, a couple of mistakes in the printing of those games that have really gotten people upset. So it's not the actual game, I feel like, that people are upset with in those things, because like in Super Fantasy Brawl, people are upset over the trays in them and how everything fits in the box, which is like a mishap, because really, honestly, Mythic is still kind of a newer game company.
They've jumped
They're
up
big.
ahead where people think of them like as this big, huge, massive
right, but they haven't
company.
been around forever, everyone. Mythic Games hasn't. And in, what was the other one? Like in Reichbusters, I think
there's complaints about the rule book. They did update.
Right,
we figured it out.
The rule book wasn't as good, and then there were a couple of misprinted things on some of the tiles. But
Oh,
Again,
no, that was just in the rulebook itself. They had mislabeled
Right.
how the map was laid out, but if you just looked at the picture, you could figure it out.
right.
It said like 2 7Bs, and you're like, oh, 7B here, 7B here, but this one was clearly like 17A or something.
Well,
So
I
it was doable. It wasn't like it was impossible to do, but you know.
I think though people are focusing on those little tidbits of things when
Yes.
the entirety of the game is still a fantastic game to play. But I can understand I can still understand people being upset over it. Let's see here. It's thematic and the mechanics are very reminiscent of the PC
Yes.
which is great. And I don't feel like I want this, unfortunately. Too many dark stuffs lately, says Just Joe Blogs. Alan says, honestly, this isn't my cup of tea. I just don't see the appeal for me. Kabuki says, I haven't played the video game yet, so I don't have an attachment to the title. I think
That's kind of how I feel. Like, I don't have an attachment to the title yet to really push me over, because that could definitely do it. I don't have a tie to the theme itself, but I think it looks very thematic, and it feels, based off of what I've seen, that it would follow along the game, the video game, quite well. And the other thing that people have had some complaints about is that they're like, oh, well, there's so many extra stretch goals or add-ons, because they're like, well, the video game is inexpensive and you get all that stuff. But, I mean, we got to be fair. Video game margins are ridiculous. You're getting like hundreds of percents back of what you put into it. With board games, you're getting tens of percents, if that makes sense. So, you know, you're going to get $10 versus a $100 difference.
Yeah, there's a lot more stuff.
And it's a lot easier to push out an expansion to a video game. You don't have to actually do anything besides have it push through like the PlayStation or the Xbox or whatever, right? You don't have to like physically print up more things.
So
Makes a big difference.
Paper Cut says, Mythic Games having trouble fitting in the box. Hisses at Joan of Arc.
Yeah, Joan of Arc is really big.
I only knew of Joan of Arc and I've never seen their other games. Really, Nosferatu. They've put out quite a few big box games that I believe we've backed quite a few Mythic games. We like Mythic games. We do.
Yeah.
So your worst thing to say about the rulebook, we figured it out. The rulebook should make things clearer, not require you to unscramble info. I agree. It was a misstep. And I feel like
that was everyone's complaint about it, though, without actually like playing the game. They're like, oh, the rulebook is hard. I'm like, I get that, but like, play the game.
Here's the thing. They're having new production company missteps because they're a new production company, but they're having
campaigns.
Huge margins on this. So it becomes an unbalanced level. You know, like they can learn from those things, but their mistakes are so much larger because so many more people have the game.
Yeah.
If it was a smaller company, those mistakes would be like just under the rug because maybe not that many people actually backed that game, or maybe there's not as many of those in distribution. So
yeah, it is still, like you said, kind of a newer game company. We've done Super Fantasy Brawl, we did Reichbusters, we did Hell. Like, there's a lot of really good games that Mythic's putting out.
Oh, definitely.
As far as gameplay, it's just amazing, and I don't have any issues with the Kickstarters itself or add-ons like this, because I mean, this is giving you additional heroes, additional bad guys, additional content. Of course, you're gonna have to pay more for that. You can't expect it all to come in one box for $100. It's just not realistic.
So I haven't decided if I'll increase my pledge for Hell. I did enjoy the demo mission I played on Tabletop Simulator. That's the other thing. I think this one was on Tabletop Sim.
It is.
I was like scrolling down to try to see where it was.
Well, something else that Luke said is just that, you know, he's got a whole bunch of dungeon crawls in their queue already, and this one didn't seem special enough to draw them in. And I can agree with that aspect of, like, we have a lot in our queue right now for dungeon crawls, and I'm actually almost leaning towards the more simplified mechanic ones, like an Arcadia quest right now, one where I'm just going to kind of sit down and play it with a couple, like, without having to do a whole bunch of upkeep, which this one does seem like it's got a lot involved in it.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a fun one to get to your table to have that dungeon delve sort of experience with a group of players, but it's not going to be heavy story based. It's for a certain group of people, and for me, since I don't know the video game entity either, I was not as excited about this one. But I do think it's a fantastic looking campaign. DrGloryhogg, would you back that?
No, I feel like it falls right into that category of one that I would love to own, but I just feel like I have too much of this already on its way to us that I just need a break. Like, I don't want something heavy like this right now.
I completely agree with that. It's
She completely kind of almost agrees.
Probably completely agree with you, Dr. Gloryhogg.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think that this one here just didn't, I don't know. It's hard because I like the mechanics of going into the dungeon, not having as big of a sprawl there on the table. I like that part a lot. Like,
table space is, like, precious.
Like, that's one of my favorite parts about this campaign, but I don't know if that one thing that I really, really like, with me not being attached to the entity, is something that's going to drive me over on to the buy portion of this.
Right.
It's $100 backing for this.
And like the miniatures and the theme all look very good, so I think it's something that you'll enjoy if you're looking for more of this.
Oh, definitely.
But we are at that point where, well, we have a whole kitchen table full of games we're trying to literally sell. So,
ooh, okay,
it's got to push something else out.
Nosferatu has a really good portion. I want it if I didn't get Massive Darkness too, or I would have backed this.
Yeah.
That's a really good comparison because both of them are like a pretty dark sort of feeling campaign to it. So I totally get that.
Well, there's
Absolutely.
been just a bunch lately, right? And I feel like, I think everyone has waves, right? So like right now I'm looking for more something in like that hour, 2-hour range that's got like some cool deck building involved. And so I don't know, that's kind of like what I'm on the search for right now.
Oh, so what game, says Andrew? You know what I realized too?
Yeah, we got a lot of games.
We have Holly, that we have the Kickstarter edition coming in of Holly, and we may have a copy to give away for that.
Oh, did we back Holly?
We did. So we may have a copy of Holly. We're going to have to do a giveaway, I think. I think we're going to have to do a giveaway here soon because there's a couple of them here that I think need to get out to the world. So, all right.
To the world.
I'm going to say, I'm not going to back this at this time. Like,
Mr. Bugs just wants some kittens in his dungeon. That's fair.
Joe, that would be the most amazing dungeon crawl ever. Oh my gosh, we need that.
Yeah, the color
We need the
festival
kitten
game.
dungeon crawl game. I want the kitten dungeon crawl game. Where you like little kitties and you're going into the dungeon, but it's like really a cardboard box.
Didn't we technically already back that? Because we have the kittens of Dungeons and Dragons kittens, right?
Yeah, but I want like the game where you're like going into the dungeon, but
it
it's
has
really...
a whole RPG based around it. Is that not enough for you?
But I want the 3D effects, okay? I want that.
You can play it in this game. Just play with the kitten figures instead.
Yes, the Color Festival game, it is fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and I think we're going to have a copy to give away. I think I'd like to give it away. It'd be fun. All right, next up, dun dun dun, we have Endless Winter Paleoamericans.
I feel like I want to sing like an ABBA song with this. Endless Winter. Is that ABBA? I don't know. Go ahead.
This is by Fantasia Games. It's for 1 to 4 players. It should last about 50 to 90 minutes. Here you're playing as, what, paleo... They say Paleoamericans, yes.
Early man.
But you're like having to like...
Early people.
I guess it's kind of like almost somewhat civilization building. Somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're still trying to like build your little outposts and stuff, and you're trying to collect things and learn how to do things that will help you out in the future and stuff. It's a worker placement, strategy-based game. Like, Dr. Gloryhogg, what did you think about this game?
I think it looks beautiful. I am super excited about like this whole kind of Ice Age, getting your tribe together, upgrading things, collecting things, kind of building like a deck. I think there's like some deck building in it. There's some set collection in it. There's like a lot of stuff going on. Multi-use cards. There's a lot. Some tile placements happening in this. It seems like such a mashup of so many like little things that it makes like this epic experience. Right?
Okay, so Lindsay Redding says, this game looks good. I'm in for a chief pledge. Omar says, I had no idea this was coming. I saw it and I want it, but I don't know how. Luke says, yeah, I'm in for this one. Yeah, this one has some really interesting mechanics in it, and I really like the fact...
It has basically all of them.
Right? I like the fact that, okay,
like
over here, you're trying to
this.
build your little villages and stuff, and you got to move them around to the different areas and stuff, and then, like, there's this tile laying portion over here where you're, like, stacking tiles on something. I don't even know what the heck that does, but I like it and I want it, okay? Right. I don't know what that is, but I like it.
My biggest complaint about this whole game, my biggest nitpick, if you will, one of the things that you get by backing this is like a dogs expansion that has a bunch of puppers in it, and I would have paid extra for those puppers.
You would have paid extra for the puppers.
You guys messed up. I would have paid extra for those dogs, and you're giving it to me for free?
For free. Free dogs for everyone. Free dogs.
I would have paid extra for those puppers.
Those tiles. What do those do? I want them, and I love that they're in this game for some reason.
I love these dogs. When it shows, if we go down and it shows the dogs, I'm telling you, I would have paid extra monies for that, hands down.
Nosferatu says, give me this. I'm excited for this one, says Alan. The mechanic mix looks dang cool, especially if it works, which it looks like it does.
It does look like it does, right? Like, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And we have some games that are kind of similar, right? Like we've got Tribes Dawn of Humanity or something. But
Right,
I
which
feel
is like a little civ game, like a tiny one.
Right,
Yeah.
but I feel like this has so much more going for it. Like I feel like I want games that have some complexity to them, but not like overly complex just for complexity's sake. I think that sweet spot. I think this game falls right into that sweet spot for me.
I feel like
plus it comes with that cool like stone table. I'm pretty sure.
Tapestry tried to do this, but this seems like it's not as like
cumbersome.
Well, Tapestry involved everything into like victory points, whereas this like each different section matters in what you're getting access to, and I think that's a better way of doing it. You know.
I want to know who's making that custom tray because it doesn't say game trays on it. So I'm just saying.
You're like, hold on.
Who's making that tray? Because it looks pretty fancy. Yeah. So I don't. There
we go.
It.
Canine familiars. Canine familiars. Look at them. They're so cute.
It's only a few cards, but I don't care. I want it so bad. I want it so bad. It's so good.
The stone table stretch goal. Yeah, that's a big stretch goal.
And there's some nice add-ons too for the different deluxe packages, which let you get like around the board more, and you've got little canoes and everything. There's just like a lot going on for this game. Big old neoprene mat. Now I do want to say, since we're backing this with our own actual monies, I want to back this, but I'm going to be backing it, I think, at the chief level.
So Joe says, not backing this until they announce the Paleo Europeans edition. Less winter, more wheat.
Let's see.
Hello, Mepper. How are you doing?
I'm not covering anyone's shipping anymore. Sorry, Nosferatu. That was a one-time deal, and I was only really covering my own shipping. So there's a lot of people that seem to enjoy this game based off the reviews. It looks good. And I'm not talking about just the art. Like, the art is cool, of course, but it's not like I have to have it just because of the art. It looks like it's got a lot of mechanics that work really well together. It's like $60 for like a lot of content.
A lot of content. Yes.
And although they're a first-time creator, the people that they have on the team are not first-time creators.
Right. They've been involved in the community. And I think this was the one where company had 35 projects backed, so it's not like they just opened this account or anything like that and then threw up a Kickstarter and stuff. No, they've been around for a little bit.
So here's the thing. There's a huge difference, right, between the different levels. I mean, $60, $30, you're getting a bunch of extra expansions.
Like $40 difference,
and then the chief, $120. You have to make that decision for yourself how much you're going to play the game. For us personally, a lot of times we're going in at a more base level because we're only going to get to play this so many times a year. If this is our favorite game, we might play it 5 times in a year. And that's just makes me sad.
When we find out it's really, really good, then we're going to be really sad about it.
And then
we're going to be searching eBay.
Right. But that's the reality is with us, since we're playing so many different games, like we've played, I don't know, 12 new to us games in the last 2.5 weeks. Like they've all been new. We've had to play them. We've played them online. It's a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but it is a lot of turnover. So I feel like there's enough here in just the base game that I'm not going to get bored. What I'm trying to do now is when I start to get bored with the base game, then I buy expansions because I've bought a lot of expansions in the past that just sit in the box.
Drake says, we really wanted to make sure each reward was appealing, no wasted tears. You did a fantastic job with that, absolutely. Drake and Johnny, the designers are lurking here. Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for showing up to the show. We really appreciate it. So if anybody has any questions for the designers, go ahead and leave them in the chat right now. And
this one was really
they're here to answer questions.
Well done, though. I didn't feel like I ran across a whole bunch of questions or anything.
Look at these screen.
Yes,
I love screen
expansions do help the long-term value of the game, but Alan, as I was kind of saying,
Alan, it's okay. I'll give him a burrito slap, and then we'll back it at the chief level.
I just don't get to play a game enough times to really even dig into the expansions sometimes. Like, there's still just expansions for games that I know I love that I haven't even really played through enough that makes it really cost-effective. Right?
At least Battlecry is so into that stone table. At least the playmat looks like the stone table then. You just need a stone table, Battlecry.
I kind of want that stone table. I don't know where I'd put it.
So, yes, Lindsay, these screen-printed, I love it so much whenever they do screen-printed meeples. Like, it adds so much character to a game. It makes it just makes those little meeples and like little figures look so good with what they're doing. Like it visually enhances the entire game.
If this does go to retail with a bunch of retail games, Nosferatu, we'll get to be the cool ones that back down Kickstarter that has a little bit of extra upgrades, right?
Well, you know what? A lot of times whenever they go through and they print the game, and I don't know this for sure if this is going to be with this campaign, is a lot of times they will not do the extras with like the screen printed meeples or like little extra things that they've added
You
in
won't get the
this.
dog expansion, things like that, right?
Absolutely.
There's
So
usually a benefit. I mean, well, you always hope there's a benefit to backing on Kickstarter. And if it's not, we'll usually tell you, like, oh, it's probably not worth backing it on Kickstarter, wait for retail. This one seems like an easy back for me, even at $60. And I honestly want to take a break. I want to, like, not back anything.
How dare you? I'll just burrito slap them right now, everybody, for you.
I want to stop. I feel like I have so many games that should show up any day now. But
how dare you even say that in my presence,
I know
Doctor?
it's weird because, like, because you buy them now and then you get them later, right?
Look at these people. Look at them.
I feel like I have so much, but I feel like for $60, this is an easy no-brain back for sure.
This one here has the fire. This one has their arrow and spears. So these are all good things. I would be the fire person for sure. Just burn it all down, right?
Yeah, that seems accurate. That seems accurate.
I'm sorry, I'm distracting you, Doctor.
You did distract me. That's okay. There's a lot of really good things going for this game. I think this is definitely worth backing.
Absolutely.
100%. Is that a dodo? Go back down. Stop.
It's a terror bird.
Oh, that's even better. So there was a point in time in our history where birds were the most dominant species, and there were these giant, like, flightless birds that would run around these giant beaks that were just like they were the T-Rexes of their time. This is crazy, guys. Crazy.
All right. So, Dr. Gloryhogg, would you back this?
Yes, 100%.
100%. All right. I would also 100% back this as well. Apologies on any lag on what's going on. We don't have a whole lot of lag on this end, so it may just be YouTube, everybody.
Yeah, it must actually be YouTube.
Yeah, because we don't have any lag on our end going out, so. All right, so we would back this.
But we still love you, even with the bad lag.
We do.
We don't blame you guys. I mean, maybe you guys shouldn't all be watching at once. I don't know.
No, we want everybody to go.
Yeah, actually, from our end, we're not dropping anything. So, crazy.
Apologies, everyone. Do you want to take we want to take an intermission and just talk to each other here for a minute?
Sure.
So, hi, everybody. Hopefully your lag eventually gets better here. So, next up, we would talk about Dire Alliance. It's not streaming anymore for us.
Oh
my God.
Yeah, it's on YouTube's end. Because, like, it's still going. I still see it, at least on my phone. But some people might have straight up lost. Yeah, you're still talking about, like, the fire over here, pointing back and forth. Yeah, you're circling the fire right now.
I'm circling the fire.
But it seems like it's running now. It's just, like, really far behind.
All right, well, we will continue, okay? Next up here, let's bring it back on over. Next up here, we have Dire Alliance Horror. Dun, dun. Okay, first off, I have to say with this one here, I really, really stinking love the minis in this. They don't play a whole lot of the game, do they?
Yeah, no, this video is mostly just the two of them talking.
I don't mind people talking in the videos and stuff, but if you want to show off the product while also talking, that's always fantastical, okay? We're up to the dodo comment.
Yeah, you guys are just really far behind.
Y'all got a ways to go. We all got a ways to go. All right, so Dr. Gloryhogg, what do you think about this campaign?
So this one was a little bit trickier to find information on, it seemed like. Like, you got some real basic ideas of how it worked, but it seems like they spent a lot of their page to just dedicated to talking about the miniatures or showing off the miniatures. And there's a lot of people that are backing just the miniatures with this, which is kind of interesting. Because it's the game, the miniatures, or both, right? The miniatures themselves seems like a really good deal. You're getting basically a $1 per miniature, right? So, like, that's a lot. But the game itself, like, there just didn't seem like there was a lot of information on there. There's a whole bunch of playthroughs if you wanted to watch a bunch of playthroughs. But that's a little bit tougher to do to get information on. I was expecting more, like, previews and everything. There's really only Man vs. Meeples was the only one I saw.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of previews on this. I'm kind of sad about that because I wanted to hear more about the board game portion. I mean, I love the miniatures. The miniatures look fantastic. My favorite part about these miniatures... But we're not in the
market to just buy miniatures.
Right, but my favorite part about these miniatures was the vampire girl on here is, like, so perfectly, yes, hashtag blame Greg, 100%, okay? But the vampire miniature in this is probably one of my favorite vampire miniatures ever because it's the female. Let me see if I can find it. It's the female, but she's
BA?
Yes, she looks like such a badass. Such a badass. Because she actually has, like, the little waistcoat on and stuff and, like, the little I don't know. It just looks so good. I just want that one miniature. That's
The
what I
one
really
miniature?
want. I just want the one miniature.
The miniatures in this do look really good, but I also kind of have like this crazy backlog of miniatures that I'm never ever gonna paint. Let's just be honest.
But I wish I had knew more information about the actual game itself. I don't feel like I got enough of that.
Ryan from Man vs. Meeple, which we know, Ryan's a good guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
He did a good job of explaining the game because there's two different modes. There's where we fight like one-on-one, and then there's where you fight like a raid against like the deck. And then you get like a different leader if you're fighting against the raid, and there's some slightly different mechanics, but it seems like this plays pretty similar. This is essentially a deck builder. You are doing like deck building actions, and like whenever you like take damage, like what they have you do is search through a card through your deck and get rid of it. So it's kind of like that Killer Robots heavy hitters, where like whenever you take damage, you're losing cards essentially, and eventually you lose by just not having any cards to play, or you can put other cards into their deck that kind of gum it up, that just don't do anything, right? They're just like a wasted card draw, which we've seen that in Dauntless, right?
Right.
Undaunted. There we go.
Vampires
Undaunted.
plus cards plus minis sold. Take my money, says Nosferatu. That's apparently Nosferatu's like crutch.
Yeah, I get that. So it looks really good. I think though, there wasn't enough on this one to sell me, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I just wasn't 100% sold on this one. There's some really cool looking things, like Vanessa looks BA, Warren looks cool.
Yeah.
There's some cool looking figures. I can see why people are backing it for just the figures.
The figures look phenomenal, like so phenomenal.
There wasn't enough on this game to sell me on it. It's definitely in that kind of try before you buy phase for me, which is fine. I mean, that happens.
Was this one on Tabletop Sim at all? This one was on Tabletop Sim, wasn't it?
I think this one is also on Tabletop Sim. The biggest thing about this one, too, is that it's almost everybody who did reviews on it is almost all based off Tabletop Sim, and it's all just guys.
Oh, yeah.
This was the only one this week that like just had all males on the whole thing.
Yeah, so just keeping up with what we said we were going to do. This particular Kickstarter campaign does not have any female reviewers. I don't know what sort of reviewers that they did get for it, but I'm always sad to see that they did not have any female reviewers or people of color, I thought.
This is the time to get goth women to review your
Heck
stuff.
yes! You want goth women reviewing this.
Are like busting out of their coffins. They're super excited. It's their month. This is the month for goth women to really shine, right? You can walk around and just pretend like you're not goth and you're just dressed up for a Halloween party, but you're goth. We all know you are. This is the time, though. This is the time to be, I don't know. I feel like there's so many women in the horror space. Like the vast majority of stuff I watch on YouTube, like Ash from What Culture, stuff like that, they're all women that talk about this horror stuff. So I'm surprised they weren't able to find anybody else.
That's a really interesting...
Like they didn't take the time.
That's a really interesting thought, too, because there's like a lot of women that I know...
Are super into
that
horror.
are super, yes, not just super into horror.
Spooky Stephanie?
But like, we'll read like crime...
That's Greg's wife.
Yeah, we'll read like crime novels and like murder stuff, like specifically on murders and everything to get all these like gritty details.
I think
there's a lot of women that really follow that genre.
I feel like the vast majority of true crime is followed by women. I thought I saw that statistic.
That's what I thought.
So,
see, Kabuki Kid says woman who is way into horror.
Yeah.
Right?
Stop it, doctor! You're making my mascara run. It's cool. This is the time to be goth.
There should have been goths all over this business right here.
I'm just saying, this is the time to go down to your local costume shop, buy all the white face paint you need for cheap. I'm sure it's not the same as the stuff that you get. Not that you would ever wear white face paint. I could see you doing that though.
So I'm gonna be super goth.
I think I'm more interested in the minis than I am in the actual game itself, and I feel like that's where they put a lot of the focus. And
I just want this.
I don't think they sold the game at all.
This mini right here to like leave out like randomly for stuff. So like whenever you do like the dinosaurs and stuff like that, and you have this guy on the ground, like you just leave him. You get a bunch of birds attacking him and stuff, and like randomly leave him everywhere.
I feel like that would be. I feel like this guy painted would be the perfect thing to leave, like as a meme. Whenever somebody explains something to you that you already know, you're like what? I already knew that. You know.
Member says no horror here.
Oh, so you got a bunch of mini painted supplies?
Gosh.
That's pretty cool. We're at the point where we're farming it out.
Just antique
I'm asking people. I'm like, if you paint stuff, send me a picture. Maybe I'll send you some stuff to paint.
Just antique them with flour or powdered sugar.
There you go.
That works. Hi, Johnny.
I bet you actually, you know what? If this would have came out sooner, I could have been this guy for Halloween. Because I can already, look, ready?
Well, that's true.
I could have been that figure. I mean, nobody would have known who it was, but still.
Should have made some thriller dancers. There you go. Like the necromancers or something, right?
The necro dancers.
Oh, that's right. The necro dancer.
But the minis are super sweet. So I don't
The
know. I
minis
guess I could see backing it for the minis, but as far as for the game, I don't feel like they sold me on that.
So the game on this is $50, and then the minis are $70, and then together I think it's like a combined price.
Yeah, I think I'll stick with my Frozen Endless Winter. Seems more appropriate, even though it's Halloween.
This is sad because I'm really interested in this game. The complete horror pledge. Let's see here. So.
Yeah, it's a close up on that mini going, no more mansplaining. Pretty true.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Nosferatu.
Telling you.
All right. Well, I'm sad because I really was interested in this game because, you know, I kind of like that gothic horror-y sort of stuff. Like we backed Final Girl, and that one was like super scary. Like murderer was coming running after you.
Yeah, that's a solo game, which usually we don't back a ton of those.
Yeah, but it was so exciting because that was.
Because you're the final survivor.
Love horror-based themed games like.
But wait,
Fog and Cobble.
So you like horror-based themed games, but not movies?
Well, that's different. I feel like I used to like more horror movies when I was younger.
Yeah. Well, see, Nosferatu is like, they got me at the art, but I don't know what the game is. I think that's the main problem here, is that you don't know what the game is without watching playthroughs, which is a lot. I don't want to sit down for an hour and 45 minutes to watch somebody else's playthrough. I'll watch my own, dang it. I'll rewatch my own content.
But if you are interested in the game, I believe they are on Tabletop Simulator, so you can check it out. Dr. Gloryhogg, would you back this game?
No, I would not, but it is a safe one to back. I mean, because it is the Sadler brothers. I mean, they've done multiple Kickstarters, so it's Blacklist games.
Best horror movie in recent years have all been from A24.
Yeah.
Really?
A24 has put out a lot of really crazy stuff.
I'm skipping this one, but I'm looking forward to Alter Quest. Absolutely. Let's see here. I'm so sad we don't have an American Horror Story series this year. Had to settle for some Ratcheted instead. Oh my goodness.
Ratcheted is
horror.
It's Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's
Space
a new
Western.
thing on Netflix.
Horror samurai space western.
She doesn't know what Netflix is.
Yes. Battle
No,
cry. Yes. Make it so. Make it so. I would play that. A horror samurai space
Nurse
western. Moving on. We have the Asking for Troubles expansions. And, you know, I didn't write down the names of the expansions. Do you know the names of them?
It's Companions and the Trobots.
Okay. So, I don't know
Which
if you all
we'll see
know.
if
I
you
don't
roll
know.
down.
I don't know if y'all... Do we want to watch this, or do you want to roll
I
down?
guess we can watch
Okay.
this.
So,
Let's see what's happening here. See, there it is. Look, Companions and... Oh, my God, I lost it. Trobil Makers. That's what it was. Trobil Makers. It's very, very punny.
Asking for Troubles is, hands down, one of my favorite worker placement games.
Yeah.
One of my absolute favorites. I bring it out to people whenever we are showing people what worker placement games are.
Or if we just want to have a good time. Because we brought it to show it to Alan, and, like, he's a gamer.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, we're like, oh, you want to play a fun worker placement game that you probably haven't heard of? Like...
It's solid. The ships in it are detailed where they apply to, like, the little ships in...
They're all parody shapes.
Right, exactly.
Ships.
They're all parody-based ships. So, like, whenever you're looking at them, you're going to recognize something from somewhere. You're going to be like, oh, this is this ship for this. Like, and there's just such fun details with it where, like, you're trying to get these troubles and you're just trying to throw them into the sun,
yeah,
like, to get points. That's all you're trying to do.
Because the trouble with, it's like the trouble with Tribbles, right? Like, you're trying
to capture them.
You're doing all these things. You're getting space slugs, space carrots,
just to make...
all these things to capture these to make
little
traps,
things,
and then when the traps catch the troubles, then you take them and you pitch them all in the sun for credits. It's amazing. It is. So actually, I should put it this way. Since we got this game, Greg showed us this game actually first. Mm-hmm. We played this game. We have not played Lords of Waterdeep since.
Right, yeah, we haven't played Lords of Waterdeep since.
Because if we're playing a fast-paced game, plus it goes up to 7 players, and it plays well at 7 players, plays well at 2 players, because you're never 100% blocked. It feels nicer. Because if somebody's in a spot you need, you go there and you just bump them. Yeah. So you're giving them an extra turn. So you want to be in that good spot so somebody bumps you. Because otherwise you got to spend, if all your stuff is gone, you got to spend all your time to pull your ships back.
Invested in what other players are doing during their turns because it can change the board state with, like, you know, travelers could show up, or maybe, you know, one of the space pirates comes up and you're like, oh, okay, I need to go over to that, area later. Like, you have to watch the board state of what's happening during the game, and if you're getting ships back and what's happening, like, it's so much fun, so much fun. So Alan says, we're trying to buy it since we played it with Gloryhound and we can't find it.
Yeah.
So we're totally all in on this, base and everything. It was fun, and Jenny loved it too, and she's not an uber gamer. Yeah, it's like just a really well-rounded game for everyone, and it's just fun. It's like good-hearted fun.
If our niece is over, we're like, hey, you want to play this?
Yeah.
And we've played it just the two of us. We played it with just our kid at 3 players. It plays well from 2 to 7 every time, for sure.
I can't see a round board without saying, the spice must flow.
I'll tell you one thing. This doesn't even come with a Lazy Susan, and we still play it.
And that's very true. That's very. You could put it on a Lazy Susan, though.
This is the first game that whenever I got my thing with game trays, I threw a bunch of pieces into game trays and put them, like, took pictures and stuff. It was the very first one I did.
And it's so orange.
I don't even like orange.
I don't like orange either, but it fits so well.
Orange is so like bottom of my top 10 colors. I'm not going to lie to you. Orange and yellow are probably my least favorite colors. And this nails it with all the orange. Everything about this game was just fun. It's super thematic.
So fun.
It's like, it's light, but like you still have to like outthink everybody because like anything else, it's a race to get to the best spots. And then you got to decide when you want to take them and throw them in. And when you want to pull your ships back, and what locations you want to go to, and do you want to bump somebody? Do you not want to bump somebody? Do you want to upgrade like your space? Like, do you want to upgrade your port and make it so that whenever you go to that place, you get a carrot and or do you not want to? That's just the basic game, by the way.
So here are, and we're just talking about the base game. We haven't even gotten into the other stuff yet. So here's the original ships, and this is the one from, what is it? That one with the bot, and I'm trying to name all the ships off here. So.
Oh, all the different shots?
Yeah, so, which ship was this one? I can't remember the name of it.
The first one is Planet Express.
There we go, Planet Express.
And Serenity.
Serenity.
The modulator, I don't know
This one looks like a regular sort of UFO-y sort of ship. This one looks like the...
That's Slave 1.
Slave 1, yeah.
Right,
this one looks like the...
That's the Bird of Prey.
Yes, and then the Enterprise. I don't know what this one is, the Trinity. What has the Trinity done after?
Is that one from... that one Space Odyssey one?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Planet Express from Futurama, right? Yeah, so like immediately as you're going in and you're giving these ships out to people, you're like, all right, pick your ship. And
that's just fun.
People just go through and they immediately identify, is this the ship from this? And you're like, well, yeah, it's kind of made after these, you know?
The Trinity's the original ship.
Okay.
And for people that don't know, Christian is actually on our Discord server, and we were talking about this for a solid day. I think we spent a couple hours going over ships.
Talking about ships and
which one should be added to the expansion.
Yes.
This is the one that's been on my radar for multiple years because as soon as I played it, we went out and immediately bought it after playing it with Greg, and then we started talking expansions because Greg said, oh, I think there's going to be an expansion. And so for years now, I've been waiting for expansions.
All right, let's talk about some of these expansions here. We have the Companions and then the Trobil Makers.
Yes.
So these both add, not rings, but little encompassing things on the board, right? So they're going to give you more options, right?
Right.
Do you want to go ahead and go into it?
Well, here's the big thing. So they're two completely different expansions. I don't know if you can play them at the same time or if you're supposed to. That's the one question I had for Christian.
Okay.
I don't know if you're supposed to play them at the same time or one at a time.
One at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's freaking out because you scroll past Baby Yoda.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
So here's some of the, there he is, right there.
There we go.
So those are some of the chaotic ones that are being added in there. It only takes 15 shares to share this? All right, that's crazy. We need to share that.
Okay, so we just need to share this, everyone.
Because that's Zoe from Firefly.
If all of you just share this right now, well, we could probably do that right now, okay? So we'll just make sure and we share this, okay? Facebook.
Yeah, and then so instead of Q from Star Trek, it's Y. You know, come on, it's like really good. And then it's Rocket,
like the Rocket, and Groot right here.
Yeah, exactly. It's really good.
It's so funny. I love it. I love it.
It's a non-legally distinct. Yeah, it's a legally distinct non-Baby Yoda.
That's right. Definitely a non-Baby Yoda.
So the way the two expansions work to the best. Okay, so.
Okay, hold on, Joe.
One at a time is suggested.
Joe says, if I had a burrito, I'd be launching it here. Don't own the base, so thinking of going all in. But dear Lord, so much orange. My eyes love it.
It is a lot, but surprisingly, it works really well.
It works so well. Yeah, it looks so good.
So he's saying one at a time, unless you're at max players.
Okay.
Oh, one at a time if you're at max players, because both might slow down unless you're at 4. I agree. So the expansions are quite different. So you've got companions where you're going out because, you know, space is lonely, so you get companions. And you go to a special location, right? You get the companion, you decide which companion you want, and they have quirks. And so the one that they use in the example is, you get like, it's harder, you get less, what is it? you have to spend more coal to get a space slug, right? And then once you get 3 crystals, you fill that in, and then you get to move it to the second quirk, which then the second quirk will say, oh, instead you'll get 1 less slug whenever you get your space slugs. And the third one is you get no slugs at all, right? But the reason why you want to build up those quirks, which actively makes it worse for you on this way, but better for you this way, when you deliver them, you get a whole bunch of bonus resources. So it's kind of like a banking system where you're putting time and effort into that for like a big payoff, which is going to help you get a whole bunch of the big Trobils cards.
Okay.
The really expensive ones, right?
Okay.
So that's kind of the basic of how the companions work. And then there's the Trobots one, the Trobil Makers, which is really cool. So like we said, once you got all your people out, if no one's bumped you, you have to spend an action to bring your people back, your ships back. When you bring them back, you put out that many of the little robots.
Right,
Because they built the robots to help control the Trobils, but then of course they became corrupted and now they're Trobots. So then you put them out to whatever locations they get, because you look at the back of them, they tell you where they go. You put all the little Trobils out, and that's an extra thing you can do when you're at a location, is you can spend your orange crystals to go ahead and actually like capture those robots, which then gives you a whole nother place, and it gives you kind of like this whole lantern-esque thing where you're like, I've got to get 1 of each, or 3 of a kind, or 2 pairs.
Ooh,
and
that's
the first person to turn it in gets the most points, because you see it goes 8, then it goes to 6, 4. It's another end game trigger too. It's a whole different source of points, so you're not going after just the Trobils. You can go after the Trobots and Trobils. This kind of mixes it up. It gives you like an alternate path, which I think is really good.
like the upgraded connections too, because the connections for me, I know whenever I'm playing, like I don't get as many connections, but if I could upgrade those, like I really think that could help my particular game that I end up playing with it, you know? Let's see here. We also have Michael here that says, I've played this more 2-player than any other counts and still one of my favorite games.
Which you would think that, right, 2-player usually worker placement almost gets to be where you're like, oh, all
like,
these spots are open.
yeah.
But it doesn't change this game because all spots are meant to be open. And when you have to bump somebody in 2-player, you feel it. You feel it. You're like, I'm giving you basically a whole extra turn. Like, I don't want to do that, but I really need that piece because I need to get to that location before you do.
This game scales very, very well. If you're playing 2-player versus 7-player.
We played it at all counts.
Right. It still just plays really, really great. And I think it's because that bumping of the ships that you're going on there and the changing of the board state where you are paying attention, no matter if it's your turn or not. That's just super important. All right, so other than the expansions, we also have some other stuff that they're offering.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I'm most excited about the Trobil Makers.
The Trobil Makers. The Trobil Makers sounds really fun. If I had to pick one than the other, I think I'd pick the Trobil Makers too, because I like the set collection portion of it.
Just get them both together.
Right, right. And then they have the different ships, which I'm so happy to see new ships.
It's Nosferatu's first game in space!
Alan says, Dr. Gloryhogg wouldn't bump me in our play.
That's true. It wouldn't.
Sometimes you do that. You know, if I know that Dr. Gloryhogg is winning in the game, I purposely will go out of my way not to bump him and do some weird other stuff just so he has to spend another turn to do that.
Which is interesting because in the house, she's like a baby shark. She just bumps everything. Like everything. She just literally bumps into me all the time. She will not ask me to move. She just bumps into me in hopes that I move. And me, being the conscientious person I am, I'm like, oh, sorry, you bumped me? And I'm like, oh, son of a... She just wanted through the hallway.
I love the name of this, the Centurion Hawk instead of the Millennium Falcon.
Right. And then you got the Alyssa for the Milano. Because it's the Milano ship and it's the Alyssa.
The Trobos.
So here's the problem, Christian, because you did me dirty, man. You did me dirty. I really want the Trobos, and I really want the Alyssa really bad, more than anything else.
That's why you break them up into different packets, so you got to get all the ships.
And is the Seeker the ship from the Navigator? Navigator, the Disney
maybe.
movie?
Oh, that's right, isn't it? I think so.
I think that's what it is.
I think so. And metal coins.
Yeah, metal coins too.
Metal coins. Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. I missed the Alyssa Milano reference.
Yeah, and a lot of the companions are like that too. Like there's David Bowie, and there's just a whole bunch of different spoofs, right?
The metal coins are going to be so much fun to play with because you use those so much throughout the game, and so having metal ones is going to be so much fun.
Metal always makes it fun.
I am so happy that this was made, and I'm so excited for it. This was an insta-back for us, everyone. We're gonna get the expansions. We're gonna get add-ons. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
And this one does actually still need to be funded. It's close, but it hasn't funded yet.
缅So if you're interested, make sure to get it funded here. I need some more ships, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, just quite simply, this is probably my favorite like, you know, mid-weight worker placement game.
Oh,
for
absolutely. It's a go-to game for us for a lot of reasons. Absolutely. It better fun, says Alan.
Yeah.
Well, remember, if you just share it out on Facebook, then we'll get those upgrades up there. What was that?
It was another card. It was Zoe from
That's
like
right.
Firefly.
That's right. So we just need some shares, okay? All the things, says Nosferatu.
It's really fun. I don't know why it's fun to get space carrots over regular carrots, but it is a lot of fun.
Well, and that's part of it too, going through and being like, all right, got some space coal and some space carrots. Everything's like space stuff.
Yeah, and you're collecting like traps, like
Some
bear
space
traps.
boxes.
Yeah, and you're like, here's a trap, here's a mega trap, here's
Yeah.
a super mega trap.
And you just can't not picture, like, going into the alien space and setting up, like, the little box with the little trap underneath it and stuff, and, like, the little
Luring
twig.
them in with a carrot.
And you're like, get in there, little Trobils.
And then my favorite thing, which always drives everybody crazy, is once I get a whole bunch of them, I go into the middle of the sun, I'm just like, yeet! And I just throw a whole bunch of
You
troubles
yeet 'em all out there.
right into the sun. And everybody gets mad because you get a bunch of credits that way. Because you're getting paid to get rid of troubles because there's just too many troubles.
Oh my gosh. Yes, eating them into the sun is like the added extra benefit of it. It's so much fun. So much fun. I hope that some of you came knowing what this game was and are excited about the expansions and ships and everything. And then I hope some of you have been open to this fantastic game that we love playing and everything.
Yeah.
And we can share that with all of you because it's a fun game. It's a super fun game. So, Dr. Gloryhogg.
I'm backing 2 things this week.
What?
Yeah. I actually came into this week saying I don't want to back anything.
It's
You know,
time. It's
grumpy.
time.
I'm like, I don't want to back anything.
I think that's just because you've like.
I'm just getting tired.
You're like, oh man.
I need like a refresh. Usually Kickstarter starts to get slow over like the holidays as they come up.
I don't know how it's gonna work
So there's
though
only
this
like
year.
1 or 2 where I'm like, oh yeah, I like that one, but not the other one. And it gets to a point where I'm like, oh, I don't feel like I need to back anything. It gets kind of nice to have like a little bit of a break before it comes right back again in the spring. I don't know if it's going to do that this year.
Because everything got pushed back and delayed and stuff. You have a lot of people that are setting up.
We had summertime where we were doing some playthroughs because there weren't enough Kickstarters to talk about.
Right.
And now I think they're all just hitting.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see here. I'm backing what Dr. Gloryhogg is backing, says Alan.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, there's a Ruby
easy for me.
Rod from the Fifth Element. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I love the Fifth Element. Such a great, fantastic movie. Oh my
Nosferatu,
goodness.
I think you're making the right choice.
Passing out vampires hurts my dark little soul. For Trobils, I think you'll be really happy
It
with
is a
Trobils.
very unique game. I don't. It just feels good to play it.
It does. It really
so
does.
weird. It's like it's hard to explain to somebody, but it's enjoyable to play.
And
enough so that I'm like, we should play this game.
It's a game that, like, if you have a bunch of players and stuff, that could be like a 1.5 or 2 hour game, but it goes by so insanely fast. Never have I played it going through and being like, oh my God, this is taking forever. No, it's usually like, holy crap, we just lost 2 hours like playing this game and I didn't even know it. Like, it was so entertaining and exciting playing it. Like,
yeah, and you get like the city cards are kind of what triggers the end game once you've like taken out enough of the troubles, and you don't know what those ones are. They're mixed in. So you're at the end, you're like, there's so many times where I've been like, okay, I will win this game if we flip this card over and it says we get bonus points for credits. If we get points for carrots, she's been stockpiling carrots and we're in trouble. And it's like,
space carrots!
You're lost because of the carrots, because you just don't know, right? That's all it's all in the end. It's all in the end there. It's like a surprise.
If it was an entertaining hour, is it a lost hour?
No.
Absolutely not. No, it's a fantastic experience.
I
is what
want
it
to
is.
lose a whole day again. I used to be able to lose whole days to video
I know,
games
just
and stuff,
to
but
play
now-
board games and stuff. Oh, so much fun.
Well,
so
like,
much fun.
like the last time we sat down to play the original Gloomhaven, it was like a whole day deal, and it
Oh,
was
yeah.
great. And
I
was
love
like,
it.
Can we just do this again? But you know, life caught up.
There's only certain times a year that we can actually set out a game and do that. So Alan says, I backed Factory 42, Fantastic Factories, Dungeon Drop Expansion, Studies in Sorcery, High Rise, Ultra Plastic,
Oh yeah, High Rise was fun.
Crescent City Cargo, and Veiled Fate. Oh my goodness. Those are a lot of good games, So just wait until you get the Bruni Companion. Forces you to take tons of carrots.
Beautiful. The bunny.
All right, so
It's the boonie.
the Bruni.
Yeah, get it like a bunny. Carrots. Force you to
That's
take carrots.
adorable. Dr. Gloryhogg, what are you spending your burrito on? Should I burrito slap you for your
Insolence.
choices?
So there's definitely, which we've talked about before, it's harder with expansions because we already know we love the game. I'm definitely backing this. I think my number one for something new that we don't have any like experience with, would be Endless Winter.
Okay.
Yeah, that's got to be my number one back. As far as expansions go, though, like I can easily go either way on these.
My number one is definitely the asking for Trobils one, like 100%.
That's fair.
Yeah, like I was so excited to see that this launched. It's like I've just been waiting for this. But I think that the Endless Winter is definitely, it was my runner-up.
This is not my fault, Alan. She's backing asking for Trobils, and I'm backing.
That's how we get our burritos done, okay?
Or the other way around. Either way, we're both happy this week.
That's right. That's right.
There's no conflict.
There's no conflict.
We just have to decide
week.
how much money we want to spend. That's the only thing. And the only nitpicky thing I had about this campaign,
the asking for Trobils,
is that to get access to the pledge banner is like $3. I think that should have almost been higher. So to guarantee, because I think one of the reasons why maybe it hasn't funded is because there's 60 people that have pledged $3 that are probably going to spend. Well, you have
probably
to spend
quite
more
a
than
bit
$3.
more if it's an expansions plus coins plus whatever they're getting. So like if there had been some other tier, then it maybe would have gone up faster because I feel like there are more people backing this than it seems. Absolutely, and maybe it should have been funded a little bit faster.
Yeah, because there's 60 people at that $3.
Yeah,
and there's nothing you can buy for $3. So
right.
I don't know. It's I've.
It's just because you want to see it funded. You're like, just fund this right now. Just fund this right now.
Yeah, I just want to see it funded is basically
And Mepper says, asking for Trobils is delivering a lot sooner than Endless Winter. Well, that's a bonus. Bonus, Mepper.
Yeah, we don't talk about deliveries, Mepper.
So,
do you know how many deliveries I'm waiting on?
Let us know what all of you are backing. We want to know, even if it's not from what we mentioned today. What's your number ones that you're backing this week? And Dr. Gloryhogg, what do we have planned?
Oh my God, nothing. It's the weekend. Oh, we have.
A Red Outpost that we need to now go reschedule.
We have Hype Train.
Oh, yes, that's right. You're doing Hype Train today. So Hype Train's a new show, everyone.
On the Tabletop Backers.
It is. It's on the Tabletop Backer Party, and I've actually added it to our YouTube page. So if you scroll down, there should be a little playlist there that says Hype Train and everything, and you can watch our first reactions to particular Kickstarters that we're viewing for the week. So we're going to do one a week, where we watch it live. You can comment with us. It's so much fun because it's the ridiculousness of like pouring through the Kickstarter.
It's very intimate. It's just us and Battle Cry. It's very nice.
It's just us and Battle Cry. That's right.
So it's very intimate, but you can see like when we went over Darkest Dungeon, we had some things to say.
It was ridiculous. It usually ends with me being in tears from crying over something ridiculous because it's always ridiculous. It's always ridiculous.
Kabuki Kid Mandalorian is starting to drop episodes again.
Ooh, we're gonna watch that. Okay, and Peter, hello, welcome back. You're totally fine, totally fine. Come back and forth, like you do you, man. Okay. Let's see here. We'll mostly be packing boxes and cleaning out the old place this weekend. That's really good. We're actually painting in our spare time. We've been painting a lot.
Yeah, our spare time. So basically, why you guys went all crazy on Discord yesterday is because we were painting. I wasn't paying attention. I was like just painting. I was like, oh, okay. Came back. I was like, wow, you guys have been talking about 3D printers for a really long time. Yeah,
apologies on that, everyone, because basically after I've stopped streaming, I'm in the other room painting and I'm going to be tiling. So like we're not leaving anywhere. We're still doing all our shows, but it may be a few weeks of us being a little bit more quiet. That's all I have to say.
It's fair.
It's been busy. It's been real busy. But we love all of you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us in chat today. You all make this show so amazing with all of your comments and everything. You always have so much insight to these campaigns and everything. We really appreciate all of you. Absolutely. Anything else?
And for some weird reason you haven't liked and subscribed, and of course, you can always check out our Patreon if you want to vote on upcoming games.
And ring the bell if you want to get notified whenever we do go live, because that's where it's at. You got to be here live. It's so much fun. So much fun. Absolutely. Thank you, everyone. We will see all of you later. Bye.